An earlier start to our day. It feels like an earlier start, but it really isn't. A little darker. It's fall. Sun hasn't come up yet. Kids just got dropped off to school, and we're on our way to the barn. Lots of racing going on in the next little while. I did a video yesterday, and it wasn't much of a tirade, but I went on a little bit of a mini rant. But the frustrations of horse racing and how sometimes we can't do anything about it. You guys hear me all the time say you have to turn the page in reference to me being frustrated, about pickpocket or anything else. There are drivers, very good drivers and very bad drivers, that just can't let stuff go, right? And it chews away at them and it eats away at them. Some of them can put it away for the time being, finish their job at hand, and then go back to dwelling. But that's not good for them or anybody else. It's certainly not good for us. And you know what I'm referencing to. And that was yesterday with the break of Wallop and the break of Divine Zet. Two bookend horses. One in the non-winners of nothing, and the other one racing in the biggest race of his life that will never be repeated. And it is frustrating. But at the same token, it is racing. And I had, usually when I see emails come in moments after a race, almost every time bad race, I take them with a grain of salt because I know we're all passionate. I'm passionate. You are. My wife is. Everybody's passionate about this game or we wouldn't be in it. So I take it with a grain of salt. Usually the first line tells the tale of the paragraph to follow. And, a lot of times people will say things that, they're angry about. And quite frankly, I think if you ask them to revisit it in a day or two, maybe they'd be a little embarrassed that they sent it, potentially. There's lots of times, as you can imagine, with hundreds and hundreds, over 900 clients, I'm going to get profanity-laced emails. I'm going to get angry emails, and as I said, I take it with a grain of salt. But I do want to bring up some of the points that were brought up over the last couple of weeks, right? We'll see it. First off, the break by Wallop. Uncommon. Even a break 3 weeks ago, Spitfire Overseas. Uncommon would be the lightest way to put it. Shouldn't happen. No idea what was going on. Things of that nature. And people have to realize that the last point, no idea what was going on, is correct. Because you guys, for the most part, aren't drivers, right? You guys aren't drivers. So you don't really understand what goes into a race like Wallop's yesterday, right? Somebody said, well, Scotty and Yannick had no problem. Of course they had no problem. They were 3-5 in a short field. All they had to do was go around. Everybody's looking for Wallop when he comes out of the gate, when it's a 5 or 6 horse field and he's 3-5, right? There's no pressure to get the horse to the gate on time. Miss the gate by half a length, who cares? They're still going to let you go. And that's what happened with Scotty and Yannick. There's no sense of urgency. Last week, Scotty backed him into the 2-hole. There's no sense of urgency. But when you're 6 or 7-1 in a full field, and I don't know what he was. He might have been 10-1. I have no idea. It might have been 4-1. I have no idea. But he was a solid 4th or 5th best on paper. When you have that horse from the 6-hole, you can't miss the gate. Not by a foot, not by a length, not by half a length. And yes, it appeared to me that maybe Mark got there a hair too early. Done it myself a million times. Everybody on the track has. It happens. And it's frustrating. It's upsetting. But it happens. And go ahead, sweetheart. And when it comes to Wallop, it may have happened. But let me just run through what goes into that. For Mark to utilize his best weapons with Wallop. And I guess I'll start with this. Somebody had actually sent it. I'm sure they were a little embarrassed they sent it after. Sent a message after Spitfire made a break and said, when I said something about Mark's drive or whatnot, and I said, well, just so we're clear, of the McDonald family, I'm the 3rd best driver. I think that's been well documented. Having said that, Mark McDonald and James McDonald are both world-class drivers. Mark McDonald was a world-class driver, which kind of bothered me a little bit. Just ask Melissa what she wants. Which kind of bothered me a little bit because was a world-class driver. In what pretext? Because, he did set the track record, Canadian record, and won the Breeders' Crown with King of the North last year. There was that. I suppose maybe he slipped quite a bit in the last 12 months. Everybody goes through a streak where they struggle a little bit, where they, where they just can't, whether you're a batter. We talk about this all the time. Anytime in sports, everybody has a slump from time to time. And there was nothing in the slump. When in reference to Spitfire Overseas, Mark was trying to hold position. The horse made a break. Now, he almost made a break on me the other day, and truthfully, the only reason he didn't was because he was coming off of a break, and I was on the lookout for it. His first step forward is neutral, right? He's not quite confident enough to bust out of the car just yet, for whatever reason. Spitfire doesn't. And Mark was trying to hold position, probably made a break. It's not the end of the world. In regards to Wallop, Mark didn't have the same latitude and leeway that Yannick or Scotty did. They weren't 3 to 5. They weren't layovers. In reference to Scotty's drive last week, it didn't matter to him. Horse was getting in the final. He tried to put him in the best position to win the race, but it really wasn't the end of the world. If last week you're going for 150, you don't back him into the 2-hole. You don't even try to. And when it came to Mark yesterday, he had the 6-hole outside of 2 horses. One that was a favorite and 2 that could leave. The 1 horse could leave. So now he wants to get away in his best foot. One, Wallop has never trotted faster than 56 as a 2-year-old in a qualifier at the Meadowlands, and 57 for us. In all his starts, he's never trotted faster than 57. Maybe 56 and 4, but I don't think so. He's in with horses that are going to trot in 54. So Mark wants to utilize his best weapon, which is getting him over to the front. If he has to control the race, great. He likely wasn't going to get a chance to. Yannick or the gentleman on the 1 horse, or maybe even Scotty, was not going to let him dictate the pace of that race. It wasn't going to happen. So Mark needed to be on time at the gate. There was no half a length off or a length off. He needed to be going forward as the gate went to go out of there. And he was trying to. But, yes, he may have got there a hair early. The one thing that everybody has to realize is that horses make breaks all the time on every driver. I watched many races where horses made breaks on John Campbell, Mike LaChance, Joe O'Brien. It's forever. It happens. They're animals. We're humans. Mistakes are going to be made. And I just don't see how, even if Wallop doesn't run yesterday, maybe he's third. That's if he gets away in a favorable spot. If the 1 pushes, the 5 pushes, and he has to take back, maybe we don't get a check. But I want everybody to understand that. And the entire underpinning of last night's rant was the fact that somebody was a little miffed that I didn't go to Massachusetts. Now, I think it's pretty well documented that I go everywhere all the time. I go to fairs, I go to Indiana, I go to Kentucky, I go to New York. There hasn't been a place I haven't been to this year of ours to race. Maybe Illinois yet. Somebody said, well, you go everywhere. Why wouldn't you go to Massachusetts? 2 reasons I wouldn't go to Massachusetts. First reason being, I had my brother there to drive the horse. And you might say, well, he never drove him before. Okay, well, Scott and Yannick never drove him before either when they won with him. He's not really a super tricky horse. Secondly, I do have a family. This is the time of year where things on the stake side slow down. But I have a lot of business stuff to take care of. Plus, I have a family, right? And they are first and foremost. When I turn this record button off and you go and have your coffee or go to bed at night or go to work or go back to work, there's a McDonald family. And you see them. You see Addie saying hi, everybody, and my wife here, and Ava and Ollie. But that's for just a blink in time of the day. And they'll always come first. I want to make sure that, for me to leave yesterday, I was going to have to catch an early flight, fly to Boston, get an Uber down to Massachusetts, down to Plainridge, race the horse, get back in a plane, try to get back in time to get home for midnight. Well, my daughter has school. My youngest daughter has dance. My other son has, between baseball and homework also, lots of stuff to do. And I can't always just walk away from them to go and race a Wallop. It's unfair to them. It's unfair to me. And this is the one part of the video I was a little blunt with, and I think it's important. If you out there believe that I should be that person that just gets on the flight and goes because it's my job, then maybe you're in the wrong place. maybe you're in the wrong barn, because that's not going to happen. It happens lots, and my wife is very flexible. Without my wife bending the way she does, none of this is possible. So just so we're clear, if you think that maybe I needed to be in Massachusetts ahead of anything else yesterday, maybe it's time that we just part ways. And I'm not apologetic for that in any way, shape, or form. Because there has to be a life outside the barn. Although there's not much of one. Although most of you get to see every waking minute of my day at one point or another, there is a time when the McDonald family is front and center. So I understand, even for anybody that would send a message like that, maybe you didn't mean it like that. And I didn't take it like that. As I said, I take everything with a grain of salt, because I want, I understand where people are coming from. You think I didn't get angry when Wallet made a break? I wanted to snap my phone in half. But you know what? The rest of the week, we still have lots going on. So let's talk about what we have going on and not what happened. Because there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it other than to reminisce and to be upset about it. And that doesn't help me, you, the horses, racing, or anybody else. So as I always counsel everybody, I got to turn the page. You got to turn the page too, because there's going to be highs and there's going to be lows in this business. And the lows are what make the highs so great. And that's the truth of horse racing. So going on today, we're pulling in. I'm going to go with some babies. I do have to go over to Pennsylvania at some point. Oh, we see some extra beards here at the big gate. What are they doing? Working, eh? It's hard to believe. These guys are the ones fixing everything. Brace for Landing today. Excited to race him. I don't know what's going to take place. If he wins, I don't know what's next for him. At some point, he'll get a little bit of a rest, and we'll bring him back for the winter as a 4-year-old, or late winter, I think. But I would like to race him for quite a while yet. We'll see how today brings. I was really proud of him last week. I like the way that he's mentally grown into the horse he is. Before, when we had to stop with him for a short period of time and we castrated him, mentally he just wasn't in it. Right? He was making mistakes he shouldn't be making. He was doing things he shouldn't be doing. Do you want me to take the car or the truck today? Do you want to take the truck?
I can take the truck. I just need someone to take it off the trailer.
Oh yeah, won't be a problem. My car is not ready yet. Figured out what was wrong with it. There was a number of course, electronics, the 21st century. Mostly everything was mechanical and software related. I don't even know if there was any parts. Tires, you need tires, brakes, but nothing. The bulk of the issue with the car was was electrical and software based. There's nothing worse than getting a bill for a little chip that needs to go in your car, right? Anyway, so I'll go with Melisandre. Do you want to pick a horse to go with too? I don't care which one. You pick it. Amy wanted me to go with Melisandre. She's a beautiful filly, trots really nice, but she wanders all over the place, right? And Amy, you guys will know when we're training, it's hard. It is always a little timid to put the horse right on their back. And that's the way that Mark and I and James was always trained. When the horse is trained, it's nose to helmet. And Amy's always a little timid to do that. So Melisandre, I want to get her on a helmet when she's jogging. And obviously, it's October. She's going to be fine by the time June rolls along. But I want to make sure they get off on the right foot and get doing their work properly. So I'll go with her today. So back to the races. Brace for Landing. Really eager to drive him today. Stay Close is down in a class race. Pick to win. Hopefully he can utilize that. Those 2 trips from the outside and then, getting burned up. They take their toll, but he's a durable, tough bugger, and I suspect he'll bounce back today. Atlas Hanover's been racing great. Can't wait to see him race today in Dayton also. He's been doing good things there. Now, I can't make it back in time, so I believe Chris Lems is going to drive Coupe. Yep, Chris Lems is going to drive Coupe de Ville. Man, she's having a great final part of her season. And we will, at some point, I said to somebody, we are going to saturate all her wins and earnings before we sell her as a broodmare. And she should be sold as a broodmare. Well-bred filly, mark of 56, multiple stake winner, and has made over $100,000. She'll she's worth money as a broodmare also. Halakai the third will be my first start at Northfield Park tonight for us, for the stable. She's another beautiful filly coming in really sharp, really happy with the way she raced the other day. And then Cupid Express also trained great here the other day. Trained very, very good here the other day. I suspect that she'll be much better tonight, I believe. So that's our Wednesday. I have drives in between, some at Northfield, some at the Meadows, and we'll get to those. Smoking Hot Irish Girl tomorrow. Excited to watch, to sit behind her also. She's been doing great things. A winner last week, but did it in the most matter-of-fact way. I like the professionalism she's showing. It's taking some time, but I like the professionalism she's showing. Unique Style, we're actually going to take the hobbles off Unique Style, and he's going to be entered in the Lazex program. I trained him here the other day. I thought he trained great without the hobbles. In fact, when I scored him down, when I warm him up with the hobbles on, he doesn't feel any different. Feels a little pacey, a little scabby gaited, but that's just him. So I said to Tim, you know what? He's got the outside, both him and Delicious Stone this week. Let's take the hobbles off them. Now, Delicious Stone raced his whole life without the hobbles up until we had bought him. So we're going to try him back without the hobbles this week. We're going to try Unique Style without the hobbles also. How the Hell is also going. Now, he's killing some time until he is in the Ohio sale. We have 5 horses in the Ohio sale. Caught a little flack over Renegade Gypsy, as I knew I would. And other people asking why the horses were in the sale. There's going to be a number of horses in the sale. I know it's not always easy for people to understand the turnover with the horses, right? You'll see a horse race good, and then say Anthony's putting him up for sale. Why would you sell him now? Because he doesn't fit that class anymore, right? He's not eligible to race in there anymore. Now, How the Hell I've been protecting forever. I love the horse, but what am I going to do? We have horses coming up that we're moving around How the Hell so that he can race in that class. It just... I can't protect him anymore. So we're going to continue to race him right up until sale time. He'll be heading to the Ohio sale in 3 weeks, I guess, something like that. Greatest ending races tomorrow also picked to win in a good class. Numbers at 10. Again, this is the whole point. We got his feet under control. He's good. Keep him healthy, and now move him forward into the fall, into the winter. I think Mark said he wanted to get the horse to the Meadowlands and start racing him there also. So that's the plan for greatest ending for the fall and winter. Now we get to this is all Indiana. All our horses are racing in Indiana on Friday and Saturday. Renegade Gypsy, now I think, Renegade Gypsy picked to win. He's going for $25,000. It's a good bunch. And a lot of people saying, why would we get rid of this horse? Why don't we just wait till he's 5? Why don't we wait till he's 9? I just, at the end of the day, this horse has had an abysmal year. He's been hot and cold, and I've had people argue with me saying he's had a great year. If you look, he got away 10th last week and was flying on the end of it. Yeah, he did. He got away 10th, and he was flying on the end of it. I have to question why he got away 10th. And then, again, the horses he's racing against are not the horses we expected. When we chose to keep Renegade Gypsy, he was in fact, he did race up in the Open, I believe, once or twice. And clearly, looked like he was going to be very useful in those middle classes. But as far as keeping him around, I think as a 4-year-old turning 5, there's still plenty of worth there. The horse is still going to try 54, 55. But to think that we're going to keep Renegade Gypsy over and over and over again, it's just not going to happen. It's just not. So Renegade Gypsy will be on his way to the Ohio sale. We are going to protect him. I'm not giving the horse away. I'm well aware of what his worth is. I took some flack about keeping keeping Wallop and holding some of those horses over. And my answer to the people that said that was, I'm not accepting the complaint that we kept him after the race when he made a break. If you wanted to make that complaint before, I would have told you that even if the horse didn't even race for 150, he was worth more than he was going for. That's his claiming tag. He can still win 3 races. Then we have an opportunity to move him to Mohawk. And we say, well, he can't do in that class at Mohawk. Well, then how could you possibly believe he could do in the $150,000 race that was going to go in 54 if you don't truly believe he can trot in 54 at Mohawk? I believe he can. His 2-year-old brother can trot in 54. This is a Walner with 14, 15 lifetime starts. The idea that he has somehow peaked is insanity. It's not accurate. So yeah, I still stand behind that. So Renegade Gypsy going to the sale, racing this week, picked to win. He's going to race another time or two, and then he'll move on. Swinging Senorita, longer odds on this filly. I didn't check the class. I know that I know that Spitfire's class was tough enough. The horse that set the world record and track record here, the Hill horse of Kurt Suggs, is in there. In fact, that's who Ronnie Wren jumped off for, and I didn't even look until after it was already listed, Tim Tetrick. And I got a message from James saying, "Oh, I guess I can't drive Spitfire." I said, "Listen, I'm not your secretary. If you wanted to drive on Spitfire, you should have said, 'Hey, is Ronnie going to take the other horse? I'll be there.'" Simple text. And then I would have forwarded it to Ron Burke and said, "Hey, James knows the horse pretty good. If if Ronnie's going to pick over him, maybe we'll use him." It would have been a problem across the board. But again, the hindsight thing, right? Watch that it's listed Tim Tetrick and then message me and say, "Oh, well, I could have driven the horse." Well, sure, you could have. If you had opened your mouth and said something, it wouldn't have been a problem, I'm sure. So, a lot of friction over the last 24 hours in horse racing at the stable. So, Swinging Senorita, I haven't looked at the class, but she's like 20-1 morning line. So these must be, obviously these are the Tactical Mounts types. And they're not going to trot away from her. Her first start, her liver was high, her AST was high. You're going to see a better Swinging Senorita this week. Not that she was horrible the other day, but you're going to see a better one this week. And then Tactical Mounts has just been tremendous. I suspect that will be an extension of a tremendous season that she's had. And then we go on to Saturday. Somebody said, "Ronnie put JK Victory in a claimer?" I said, I didn't know. What claimer? I'm thinking, what claimer would he put him in? Oh, they have a $250,000 claimer on Saturday. Now, that is the most I've ever seen a claiming price be. 100, a couple of times at Mohawk, 100 at the Meadowlands. I think there's 100 at Yonkers. But I've never seen a $250,000 claimer. But we have one. And we're 5-2, not picked to win, picked for second. General Dolan, I think the horse's name, is picked to win. But a good class. Again, certainly, I think a wonderful class for JK Victory. Wouldn't it be great if they wrote a 250 claimer for 50,000 every week? Wouldn't that be great? So JK Victory is in a claimer. He's in a $250,000 claimer on Saturday night, where it appears he should do well. Ronnie Wren gets along well with the horse. Can't wait to see him race. And then obviously 8-1 though. 8-1 on Spitfire Overseas. He's coming in racing pretty good. Now, is he up to Jet Hill? I haven't been following Jet Hill throughout the latter part of the summer. I saw him race the 91 and 50 and 1 here and broke, or 52, and broke Yes's track record. Just an incredible mile. Horse looks like a monster. And he's not the only one. There's lots of good horses in there. So 8-1 I think is actually pretty favorable, considering that Swinging Senorita is 20-1. So tough racing this weekend. Friday, Renegade Gypsy's got a good shot. Swinging Senorita, way outside shot, but a shot. A puncher's chance, as they say. Tactical Mounds is 4-1. Spitfire's 8-1. JK Victory is 5-2. Now, I'm sure there'll be other horses trickle in. Scratch time is today for Wednesday for Friday for a number of tracks. So I'm just looking at the calendar. There's other horses that'll be entered or are entered. So with that, I wanted to update everybody. As I said, not upset in any way about any comments that were made. As I said, I take it all with a grain of salt. For those of you out there, I hope you understand the Wallop situation a little bit more, the pressure that went into racing, and certainly wasn't Mark's fault. For maybe you that weren't watching the races yesterday, Mark won the open trot and open pace at Plainridge also, so thankfully he hasn't slipped. Anyway, I will continue to use my brother Mark and my brother James. For those of you who maybe aren't fans, I'm just giving you a little update right now on that. I think they're both world-class drivers. They are world-class drivers. One has been for a long time and one has been for a short time, but both most certainly are. So with that, I will let everybody go. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We're on our way to Harrisburg here in another week or so. I'm going to be on the phone the next few days trying to clean everything up, make sure we get all the revenue in, because I do have to wire that money next week for the Lexington sale. And then we're off to Harrisburg. Should be a lot of fun. I've targeted a number of horses. Again, that's shopping cart mentality as we head to Harrisburg. I've targeted a number of horses on my iPad in the Equiline app that I am interested in for Harrisburg. It should be a good time. It's still tons of horses racing. Bear with me. I know a lot of people get a little frustrated when they see a horse up for sale, or, we move a horse. There is, we're not always right. I say this all the time. I'm not always right. I'm human. But at the same token, we do have a system that's worked pretty well for us over the last 2-3 years, and it's getting better and better and more refined and more fluid. And we always want to try and get better. So for us at the stable, we're doing the best we can, and we'll continue to do the best job we can. I think it's translated on the track very well, and we'll continue to buy the horses that have done well for us, the types of horses. So with that, I'll let you go. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It's going to be a warm one. It's going to be a beautiful day for racing. I am going to be on my way over to the Meadows here in another couple hours. Until then, I'm going to go with some babies. We still have all the Pacers with hobbles on, so I'll go with them again today. A couple of the trotters. I'm going to go with Melisandre and a couple of the trotters. Green Glitter, who was kicking a little bit the other day. Maybe you guys missed that in the video. She kicked. So I'll go with her. Anybody that I feel I need to go with, I'll go with today. Lots of time. So with that, I'll let you go. I'll talk to you on later on. Talk to you all later on this afternoon when I'm done the Meadows, and maybe even tonight when I'm done Northfield. But for now, have a wonderful day. Take care.